On the phone, pleasure to welcome to this program former governor, former attorney general of New York State, Eliot Spitzer. Eliot, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Great to be chatting with you.
Tonight, President Obama is going to basically take a second bite, I guess, at the stimulus apple. And we've seen some reports that he's going to offer at least a top-line package of $300 billion. And you know, over the past couple of weeks, you've been writing at Slate magazine, Slate online magazine, a
Right.
couple of ideas for the president to go forward, and one of them is that he should really focus on helping the American homeowner, and
Correct.
and by doing so, require banks. I think you basically propose a principal cram down, using the leverage we have of the banks. Now, it seems to me that almost from the beginning of his administration, there has been I don't want to go too far here, but pathological
Right.
hesitancy to take on the banks.
You're not going too far. There has been, perhaps, Sam, let me put it this way. One of the most fundamental questions that's being asked and has been asked over the last 4 years, so it goes back before President Obama was in office to the end of the Bush administration, but from the moment that the economic cataclysm began to erupt, the question has been, who's going to pay for all the excess leverage in the system? And the answer that has been given over and over again has been taxpayers and the middle class have been paying, and the banks have not been paying. Now, you can maybe debate both sides of the issue. Obviously, I don't want to talk for you, but certainly my feeling has been the banks should have put in an awful lot more. We've used tax dollars to bail them out, give them the bonuses again, and permit them to revert to normal. Cleaning up their balance sheets, we have left homeowners with this enormous exposure, and we've left the economy in a state of distress. Many of us were saying back at the beginning, if all you deal with is the bank's balance sheets, you're not dealing with the disease, you're only dealing with the symptom. And the banks created this mess, in my view. Make them contribute to the solution. The solution really has got to be, in the housing sector, reforming a lot of these mortgages. And you're right, the Obama administration has not done anything that takes any real bite out of what the banks have got to do.
And what accounts for this? I mean, from the very beginning of his administration, he surrounded himself with Reubenites, I guess it's fair to say.
Yep.
And he continues. I mean, is there anybody left in the administration? I mean, Geithner, I think it's been reported, when it came time for the stimulus, he said, too much stimulus is like sugar for the economy. It's a sugar high. It's not healthy. And tonight, President Obama is reported to offer this $300 billion package, half of which is going to come from payroll tax moratorium,
Right.
which is a fairly ineffective form of stimulus.
It's more of the same. It's more of the same. I've never quite understood the metaphor, but I don't know if it's new wine in old bottles or old wine in new bottles. I don't know, but one or the other. I mean, it's unfortunately more of the same, and it hasn't worked as well as we might have wanted. Look, I'm one of those who believes that the stimulus did work a little bit.
Right.
Things would have been worse had we not done it. Now, that's not a terribly, that's not exactly the chant you want going at your political rally. It could have been worse if we hadn't done it. Doesn't win elections. It is economically the case. I don't think that extending the payroll tax alone is going to be enough. That's why I do think he's got to do something big and fundamental in the housing market. And I haven't heard, at least in the sort of things that are creeping out of the White House, that that's part of what they're talking about. And you're exactly right. He's been surrounded by people, Tim Geithner and now Bill Daley, and I don't want to speak ill of them as individuals. I'm sure they're good, decent people. I know Tim Geithner, from dealing with him over the years. I just disagree with them. And I think Tim has been reported, and I believe it to be the case, that he didn't want to restructure the banking system at all. He thought this was just kind of one of those things that happens. There was nothing structurally wrong. I believe there is and was and continues to be a structural problem. We have accelerated growth and concentration of banking power, not decelerated that, and we are not still moving capital to those sectors where we need it, and we're still not dealing with the excess leverage and debt in the housing market, and that's what's depressing the housing market and has contributed to such a downward pressure on so much of our economy. One of many causes, but that's a big one.
And it seems to me that not only has there been a reluctance or even maybe that's even too soft of a word, to restructure the banks, but there also seems to be a fundamental determination to stop any accountability. I mean, there was a story yesterday, I think it was or I saw it yesterday anyways, an American banker, that there's clear indication that banks have been involved in fraud insofar as they were getting kickbacks from mortgage insurance, that they were encouraging more mortgage insurance than necessary, that HUD delivered a huge glossy bound book to the DOJ 2 years ago, and they have done nothing on this investigation. We see the administration reportedly a couple of weeks ago pressuring Eric Schneiderman, New York Attorney General, to sign on to a basically immunity for the banks in terms of the securitization. Give me your sense of what's going on there.
Well, to say I'm disappointed in the Justice Department's efforts in this domain is obviously an understatement. I don't want to start weaving conspiracy theories and say they're in the tank and this and that, although, at moments it's obviously tempting to sort of say things like that. But at a minimum, I'm just enormously disappointed that there has not been sufficient credibility and accountability. And as you point out, saying to those who do want to push forward with meaningful investigations, Eric Schneiderman in particular, that he shouldn't do so, I think is fundamentally wrong. And I think Eric is doing what is correct in saying, listen, the banks want to get sort of broad waivers. They'll pay some money, but they want broad waivers for their wrongdoing in the entirety of this mess. At least let's know what happened and investigate before we grant them that waiver. And once again, the White House is saying, no, just let them pay some money and give them a blank check. It's the wrong way to proceed, and it speaks to the American public about a system that hasn't changed. And if we were hoping for transformational politics, it doesn't speak to that. And look, I said when the first cabinet was appointed, the first cabinet looked very much like continuity you can believe in rather than change you can believe in.
Right, and and I don't think it's. I mean, at the very least, putting aside the notion of conspiracy theories, at the very least, there seems to be a fundamental favoring of, we have Catherine Wild coming out, who is a member of the Federal Reserve of New York, sits on the board of the Federal Reserve of New York, who's saying that Main Street is Wall Street, or rather that Wall Street is Main Street. I mean, okay, putting aside the notion of why the Department of Justice is not going after these multiple fronts of investigations, and putting aside the fact that the administration, through Sean Donovan at HUD, is also pressuring Eric Schneiderman, you could argue that the Department of Justice has some independence. I don't think HUD has that level of independence from the administration.
Well, let's come back to Kathy Wild for a moment. I know Kathy, very pleasant, nice person, to get along with her great. But I think, as you point out, this confusion or the ability to say Wall Street and Main Street are the same is sort of the Alice in Wonderland world we've been living in. And I think, look, she speaks for the New York City Partnership. The New York City Partnership doesn't make any bones about the fact that it is really a voice for the investment banks and the major financial institutions in the city. That's fine. But that is by no stretch of the imagination can you confuse that as being a Main Street voice. And I think when you look at the job numbers, when you look at what has been going on across our economy, you realize that what has been tried over the past couple of years by this administration in terms of resuscitating our financial system has not worked for the vast majority of the economy.
And I know you just have a limited time here, but let me ask you this, because in this context, I mean, the administration is making so many moves. Now, I understand on a political level, but from very early on, even around the time of the inauguration, they were talking about a notion of a grand bargain where essentially money would be taken out of retirees and pensions and to basically pay off tax cuts that went to the wealthy under the Bush administration. President Obama has yet to fulfill that promise of allowing those tax rates to go back up to Clinton levels. And I'm talking to more and more these are mainstream commentators who are talking about that we have essentially slipped into a plutocracy, that our government has been captured in many respects by big money.
Look, Sam. Let me disagree with those voices only a little bit. We haven't slipped into it. We've rushed into it in full embrace. There simply has not been any creative new thinking when it comes to many of the macroeconomic issues there, and that, I think, has been a real part of the problem. There has been a failure at the level of the plutocracy, and I'm not weaving a conspiracy theory. I think it's just that there's been a unity of worldview that emanated from a lot of the investment bankers, a lot of the lawyers surrounding them, a lot of the sort of policy wonks in Washington who confused the well-being of finance with the well-being of our economy. And this may or may not be out of malevolence, it doesn't matter. But I think it is a confusion that explains a lot of the policies that we have continued to pursue. And oddly, the dissident voices, look at Paul Volcker. Mm-hmm. There's a guy who has been at the epicenter of power as a free thinker, and with his booming authority, both physically 6'7", and his wealth of experience. He said, "Wait a minute, guys. Dodd-Frank and this pre-Volcker rule, it was just a perpetuation of the status quo, and there's a reason that those capital flows weren't working so well." And we need more voices like that.
And I mean, I don't, I agree with you. I don't think it's a conspiracy, and I don't even know if it's necessarily a confusion, except for some extremely wealthy actors acting in their best interest with disregard for the implications.
Yep, and the reality that decision making has gotten more and more insular. And I think that is why, when you look at Tim Geithner was president of the New York Fed at the very moment the system was created that led to the excess concentration, the excess leverage, the failure of the Fed to do anything meaningful, even though it was clear to many people there were storm clouds and hurricanes on the horizon. Tim embraced it, built it, adopted it, continued it. Was chosen to be head of the New York Fed by a committee that had Hank Greenberg and John Whitehead from AIG and Goldman on it. And again, forget attributing motive. This is the world that so many people came from, that the insularity of the world led to an inability to consider. There's Paul Krugman out there who's been screaming from the sidelines saying this isn't working. Joe Stiglitz, Robert Reich. There are a lot of really smart academics. Forget the, not sort of rabble-rousers who are out there just throwing bombs. I mean, intellectual bombs, that's easy. These are serious people. You have Nobel laureates who have been saying the economics of what you guys are doing is simply wrong. And they haven't listened.
And from a political standpoint, how do we break this cycle? I mean, we see more and more of essentially the impact of this money changing our political system, influencing our political system, and from Progressives United decision, the Citizens United decision down. I mean, how do we break this cycle from a political standpoint?
Tough to know. I mean, I think in 2008, many of us felt we had broken through. We had a transformational president who would speak from a different vantage point. Hasn't quite worked out as planned. So now what is the question? I'm beginning to think we need to just run slates of candidates who are going to be thoughtful, smart, and I'm not talking about ideological rigidity here. I'm talking about smart economics that will begin to rebuild what we need. And those who read my columns know I'm not doctrinaire. I've said we got to control entitlements. This isn't some heinous conservative thing. This is simple arithmetic. In the long run, there are ways to do it that are smart and progressive. So let's do that. Change the tax code in ways that are smart and progressive to induce investment and generate the equity that you and I believe in. Reich's book, Aftershock, and his sort of condensation of it in the New York Times Week in Review last Sunday, which showed you graphically the data about concentrations of wealth and income are staggering. We need to run candidates for Congress, for the Senate, for town council who are going to just be loyal to those values and be hard, smart, and hard-nosed. That's maybe what it comes down to.
I've got some issues with your entitlement suggestions.
I know you do, but that's why I threw that in there. Just make sure you were listening.
Oh no, I've read that. I was gonna. I definitely have some issues with the raising of Social Security and Medicare eligibility ages. The Medicare one in particular is.
Well, look, put that aside. Social Security, I think. Anyway, look, we can. That's a separate conversation.
That's a separate conversation, but
which has an impact over 20, 30 years when done the right way. Look, I'll give you one that I think we'd agree on, which is the income that should be Social Security eligible for taxation should rise above the 106,800 where it's capped right now. It should go up higher, or maybe you stop at 106, but then say, but if you earn over $1 million, it's taxed at $2 million and $2 million. You know, there's a lot of different ways.
Yes, we're
of doing
capturing,
it.
I think, somewhere around 8 percentage points less than we normally do in terms of income because of the disparity. So, what happened to that transformational president? I mean, that's really the question that has been boggling me and I think many on the left, is what happened to that transformational president? How did a guy who was so quick to jump the establishment, as it were, in running into this race, so quickly embrace the establishment once he became into office?
That I don't know, and I think we're going to have to wait 15, 20 years to sort of maybe read his memoirs, maybe get inside accounts from people, maybe understand him better as a person. Who knows? I mean, I'm not sure speculating about that is terribly helpful at this point. It's hard to do, and I'm not sure. I certainly don't have any wisdom to shed on it. I just wish at the very get-go there had been a different universe of advisors. I wish that if a Krugman or Robert Reich had been in the inner circle there, pushing a different set of policies, I think we'd be in a very different place right now.
All right. Well, I hope to speak to you before that 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Eliot Spitzer, I appreciate you taking the time.
Sam, always great to chat with you.